everyone, Emily here from Emily's Excellent Epics, and today I am here to bring to you my first video outlining some of the books that is a potential TBR for the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do 2.0. So if you're not familiar with the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, it is a reading challenge that Qwordy has created. I will link her channel down below or tag her so that way you can find her on YouTube. She's got a friend Asura who has really helped her create all of the graphics and the spreadsheet and Canva graphics for journals. If you want to do a journal, like, they have put in a whole lot of work to this. But this readathon has a bingo board, and each prompt has lots of different sub prompts within that prompt. So, for example, last year was the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do 1.0, and one of the prompts on the bingo board was complete the A to Z. Complete the A to Z reading. So read a book for that starts with the letter A, starts with the letter B, etc., etc. They've updated some of the rules, so you can do a reread for like every 10 new books that you read. You can do a reread, or if you earn enough points, like your books, depending on what all the different categories there are on the spreadsheet. It'll tally a point. You'll get a point tally, and then you could turn in a certain number of points for rereads. You can also, for the first time, double up books for prompts. So I could read one book that fulfills one prompt and have it count for another prompt. So that is awesome. It still is going to require me to read about 92 books if I do this, and that is that's without not figuring out prompts for, actually it's going to be more than that. It's going to be over 100 books because I haven't figured out the new releases prompt yet. So let me back up here for a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. So here's what I did in order to prepare for this. I took the journal prompt pages that are on Qwordy's website, and I printed them all out. And then I wrote in on the bottom, and it's pen, but it's the Pilot Frixion pens, or friction pens. So they'll erase, okay? So I wrote in potentially what books I want to read. And then for each of the prompts and the sub prompts, and there are white prompts on the bingo board and there are purple prompts on the bingo board, and purples are more customizable, that will work for you and what you want to do. So I did all that. Then I went through page by page of this, and I added a tab on the spreadsheet that they've created, and I wrote the book and what prompt I think I might use for it for prompt number 1 and then prompt number 2, just to see did I write a book down 3 times, which you can do, but you have to spend points. But all that's to say is I just wanted to make sure that I maximized a book for what I could use it for. Because we can double up prompts, I wanted to make sure that as many books as possible, I was doubling up on prompts. Okay. Now, some of the prompts I did not figure out yet. I have not figured out yet. There's one prompt called Buy the 100's, which I have not figured out. There's a rainbow, like the color of the book. I have not figured out. I'm kind of hoping that one will either be organic and be able to find books that I have not doubled up on to use for that prompt, or there's a workaround. You can read picture books, because any kind of reading counts. I might go to the library and just sit and read a bunch of picture books. So that'll be quick and easy to fulfill that prompt. So I have not figured that out, and I have not figured out what I'll read for the new releases, because I subscribe to Book of the Month. I have Aardvark. I can easily pass on them if I need to. So I feel like it's easy for me to get a new release once a month, along with, there are a few that I am anticipating later this year, but like, I'm not one who searches on Goodreads, like what's coming out, when is it coming out? Like I don't do that. As much as I know some other booktubers do. At any rate, that's a whole long explanation. So it took me a little bit to prep this. I know some people just do it organically and they read a book and then they look and see like, oh, did it fulfill the prompts? I knew that I couldn't do that. I especially knew that I couldn't do that because I also wanted to make sure that I was using books that I, as much as possible, that I already physically own. And I did a really good job. There's a handful that I don't physically own, but I think they'll be easy to get at the library. So without further ado, I'm going to go over 2 of the prompts. Okay. So, and each video will be like a discussion of 1 or 2 of the prompts, depending how long the prompt is. Okay. So the first prompt is by the 100's. I don't know if you can read that. Okay. By the 100's. By the 100's. So you have to read a book that's 100 to 199, 200 to 299 pages, so on and so forth, all the way up through 700 pages and beyond. Not a problem if you're a huge, chunky fantasy reader. For the upper levels, it's the lower level books that are going to be harder. So I do have a shorter book, and that is, so I realized I needed to plan the 100 and 200 pages at least, just to make sure that I'm mindful about reading them. So first up, I'm going to read Marguerite and the Yellow Dog by Simenon. And I don't know too much about this book other than it is 134 pages long. No, 135 pages. And it's a mystery, like in the Golden Age detective. And it's from, the author is Belgium. So I think I could also use this for a translated book. But, so I plan on using that for the 100's. And then for 200's, let me double check. Let me confirm. Yep, 245. The Cat Who Played Brahms. This is book 5 in the Cat Who series by Lillian Jackson Braun. And we're following Qwordy, who is a kind of because of life choices that he's made in the past, he's now kind of down on his luck news reporter in a smaller town, and he solves murder mysteries now. They've just kind of fallen in his lap, and he solves them with the helps of 2 cats that he has adopted as a result of some of the earlier murder mysteries that he's read, or that he's solved. So I plan on reading this for the 200's because I need to continue on in the series. I have a lot of Cat Who books that I got free at my library, so there we go for that. And then 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. Not quite sure what I'll use yet. It'll just depend on what I can double up and if I could eventually triple up, because I've got a book that I could easily use for 700. That I'm going to be talking about next. So then the next prompt is subgenres of choice. Sorry, I'm looking down because I wanted to make sure that I had the title of the prompt. So the next prompt is subgenres of choice. So what that means is that you pick your preferred genre for reading, or just a genre that you might want to branch out in and read more of. So, for example, if you read romance, you could do like contemporary, historical, paranormal, fantasy romance. If you did mystery, you could do like thriller, cozy, Golden Age detective, locked room, that kind of thing. I, of course, chose fantasy. Okay. So now I have to find subgenres within the fantasy realm. And I had to pick 5 different books for each subgenre. So here's what I plan on reading. So first, I plan on reading Ghost Story by Jim Butcher, which is the next book I need to read in the Dresden Files. I'm not going to talk too much about this book because it would be spoilery. But because it's like book 12 or 13, I think. I don't know. But basically, in the Dresden Files, we follow Harry Dresden, and he is a wizard who solves mysteries of the paranormal kind in Chicago. And he works with Karen Murphy. Is that her last name? So he works with Karen Murphy, who is a police detective in the Special Investigations Unit. And he has a cat named Mister. He has a skull who talks that's named Bob. And it's just been a ride. Like, the first 2 books in the series are really not good. Like, book 2 was just terrible, in my opinion. But the book series has picked up more and more, and like, Changes was phenomenal. Do not read the back of the book until you read the first page of Changes, because the back of the book spoils the first sentence. But I've really enjoyed following Dresden grow through the years and watch his story evolve. And so I'm looking forward to Ghost Story. Then the next subgenre I chose was romantasy, because I've been reading a lot of those. And I'm going to continue on with Throne of Glass. And I need to finish it this year because I need to finish it before I move on to Crescent City, because I want to complete the series. And I'm going to do the tandem read, but I'm going to count Empire of Storms for this prompt of romantasy. I will be tandem reading Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. If you're not familiar with the tandem read, there is a schedule that you can follow. So Empire of Storms follows one area of the realm. Tower of Dawn follows a different area of the realm and different POV characters. And it's the same time frame. It's just different POVs and different people that you're following. But if you do the tandem read, you can alternate and watch all the action play out in chronological order from both POVs. But in Throne of Glass, we are following Selena Sardothian, and she is an assassin. And she has been enslaved into the salt mines of Endovier. Endovier, I don't listen to the audiobooks, so I apologize if I'm butchering some of the names. So she gets pulled in these salt mines as a slave. And after a year, which is shocking that she survived that long, she gets pulled out of these salt mines. And by the prince and like his right-hand man, and like the captain of the King's Guard, and Kale. And basically Kale's like, we want you to enter into this competition. And if you win this competition, then you'll become the king's assassin. And she enters into this bargain with them to do so. And of course, things unfold as they always do in fantasy series. So I'm going to continue on with this. Then the next prompt, the next subgenre that I'm going to be reading from is epic fantasy. Win in Truth by Brandon Sanderson, which is book 5 in the Stormlight Archives. And if you've been watching me, you know that I have been loving my read of Stormlight Archives. I really want to read it this summer, but I still need to read Lost Metal first and Secret History. So I need to get on that. Then the next subgenre that I'm choosing is paranormal. And I've already read this, so I'm not going to use this book, but Allie Hazelwood has it's been announced that the sequel to this, or the companion novel, I'm not sure which, Mate, will be out in October. So I will be reading Mate for the paranormal prompt. And in this world, there are wolves and vampires and humans. And they all kind of have this tenuous peace. And although, do humans know that the vampires and the werewolves exist? or wares exist. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a little bit since I read this, and I read this pretty quickly during a weekend where it was a bad work weekend for me. So there's that. So yeah, so we're there. So thoughts. So it's just about the interactions between the vampires and the wares and humans. So, and the tensions that come from different species. I really enjoyed it. So, all right. Then the next subgenre I'm doing is going to be mystery fantasy. And for that, I'm going to read Robert Jackson Bennett, A Drop of Corruption, which is book 2 in the Leviathan, this is called an Anna and Din mystery. But I feel like there's something of the Leviathan. Leviathan is in the title of the series name. But at any rate, Anna's kind of like a Sherlockian character. Din's kind of the Watson character. And Din has been like, in this world, people can be like magically enhanced or genetically enhanced. Not magically, genetically enhanced to have extra special abilities. And Din has been enhanced, and he's got this ability where like he'll carry vials of like essential oils or scents. And so he'll pull it out, he'll sniff it, and then he will go and look at a crime scene. And then he'll be able to go back, talk to Anna, because Anna does not leave her quarters. And then he'll pull out the same scent, he'll sniff it, and then he'll be able to have perfect recall of what he's seen to be able to tell Anna so that she can solve mysteries. And yeah, and in the meantime, they have these walls around different cities because there are leviathans that will come and kind of attack the cities, and the walls help prevent those attacks. So yeah, I enjoyed the first one. Looking forward to book 2. And my last prompt is Wishtress by Nadine Brandis Nadine Brandis. And this is like there are a couple of ways. It's either Christian fantasy or allegorical fantasy. And I really don't know what this one is about. Mirtha is born with the ability to turn her tears into wishes. But when a granted wish goes wrong, she is cursed. The next tear she sheds will kill her. Oh my gosh, if that were me, that would be problematic because pretty much like every book I cry. Now, if like I just read a book today and I was like, it's just beautiful. She must travel to the well to break the curse before it can claim her life, before the king's militarin find her. To survive the journey, Mirtha must harden her heart to keep herself from crying even a single tear. And he could stop time with the snap of his fingers. Interesting. I've heard really good things about this. I've had this for, let's see, because I have my receipts in here. I've had this since 4/26/2024. So I do need to read it. And that is the 100's challenge and the the subgenre challenge, or the subgenre prompt from the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. Like I said, there are way more prompts. So I will be posting them, or I'll be continuing to make films. So keep on watching. Hit the like button, hit the notification button, subscribe. In the comments down below, let me know, are you doing HRCYED at all? Did you try 1.0? How did you do? Are you doing 2.0? Have you figured out what you're going to be reading? What are your thoughts? What genre are you going to read? Talk to you later.